Hi friends, this is Irech E. Welcome to this tutorial. In this video, I'm going to teach you how to create floor plans in AutoCAD. It does not matter what AutoCAD version you're using. After this video, you'll be able to create architectural floor plans on AutoCAD. And I urge you to stick to the end because this video is sparked by the following: opening of new templates, setting the units and limits, setting up the layers, setting up the dimensions, creating floor plans, of course, inserting the windows and doors, and then applying dimensions to it. So without further ado, let's get started. Alright, we will begin by opening new AutoCAD templates. To do that, I go to File. So once I click on this open, I'm going to have the opportunity to open a new AutoCAD template. The next place you can get this icon on the quick access toolbar, which is here. So this icon here is new, and then the one next to it is open in case you want to open a file on your hard drive. For example, if I click on this open, it's going to take me direct into my drive. But that's not what I want to do now. I'm going to cancel out of that and then just click on new. So here, just go to AutoCAD and then click on it and open. Alright, here is a fresh AutoCAD file. So I'm going to do the basic necessities before we start. The first thing I want to do now is to just set up the project unit. So to do so, I just go to Format and then go to Units, and it's going to open this dialog box. Now then, for the length, you have the decimal here. If you click on this arrow, you're going to see different options like architectural, engineering, fractional, scientific. Alright, the differences between them is not what I'm going to be explaining now, but I'm going to link a video to this so you can watch and know exactly what they represent. I'm just going to leave it as decimal, and then for the precision, I'm going to leave it at 0 because I just want it in one decimal place. And then you go to the angle type. We have decimal degrees. The precision is also 0. Then if I also click on this tiny arrow, you're going to see different options as well, like the degree, minutes and seconds, which is for surveying. We have the radians, surveyor's unit. So all of these have their place, but for this tutorial we are going to leave it as decimal degrees. And for insertion scale, I'm going to go for millimeters, which is my preferred unit of measurement. Then I just click on OK. Now to set up the drawing limit, it is either we go back to Format or we just use the shortcut by typing limits. So I'm just going to click on it to activate that, and then here you have limits. So the AutoCAD is going to ask you to specify lower left corner, alright, 0, 0, enter. Now I'm going to specify the upper right corner, let's say 2000, 2000. After setting up the drawing limit, the next thing I'm going to do is to click Z for zoom and A, which is the first one here for all. So I'm just going to type in A and then enter. So my workspace is set. Then the next thing I just want to do now is to turn off these grid lines. Alright, every default AutoCAD is going to come up with these grid lines as far as some of these things are checked on the option, which is right here. If I click on it, you're going to see all of these options. Alright, as far as they are checked, they are going to appear here. So what I'm going to do is to opt out of here, and then I just go straight to the command right here and turn it off. The next thing I want to do is to make sure that this AutoCAD file that I just opened has a name. To do that, just go to File and then go to Save As. So I'm just going to name it Floor Plan Lessons. Click on Save. So the next thing I want to do is to make sure I set up layers. Now if you come to the layers, you're going to notice we don't have any here at all. So I'm going to set up layers for the walls. I'm going to set up layers for the windows, for the doors, and for virtually everything I'm going to be doing here. So to do that, I just go to layer properties here. click on new layer. Once you click on it, so here I'm just going to set this up as wall. For color, we can set up a different color, or we can make do with white. And then for line, we are going to select the type of line. Here we have continuous line. If you need to change it, all you just have to do is to load here, and you see different other types of lines. So we just leave it the way it is, all right, and cancel out of this. Click on OK. Then for line weights, I would like that the wall should be thick, so I go for 0.53 mm. Then I click on OK, and that's for the wall. Then the next thing we need to set up is the doors and the windows. And then we select the wall and set current by clicking on this icon here. Once I set current, I can now close this up. So if you watch here, you have the wall as the current layer. I can just pick line and make the first line just like that. And then the next thing I'm going to do now, which I'm going to be using most of the time, is the dimension. If I click on the dimension here and I dimension from this point to this point, you're not going to see anything because nothing has been set up about the dimensioning. And for more information about this dimensioning, there is a video I'm also going to link to this video. Do well to check it out. Now let's move on. Alright, to set up the dimension, I have to go to annotation, and then I drop this arrow down there, then go straight and click on this to bring me to this dimension dialog box, or just expand this, then expand this again. You can make your choice on which of them to open, and then here once you click manage dimension style, it still brings me to the dialog box, and then we have this default standard that's here already. I'm not just going to modify on this, rather we are going to create and set up a new dimension. So in that case, I click on new. Now here, new style name, we are just going to name this, let's call it P9, that is project dimension. And then the next thing I'm going to do now is to click on continue. So once you continue, that is going to bring us to the main dialog box where we can start up the setup. Then for lines, of course, we are under lines right now. The color of our dimension line, we can change it from white to something else. So maybe I turn it to red. All right. Then for the line type, of course, is going to be by block. By block is just a continuous default line, and if you expand this, click on others, you can change the line from any other by block to any other thing. Now let's just click on continuous solid line, or you can load in, change it to whatever kind of line you're looking for, but we don't need dotted lines for dimensioning. So I'm just going to cancel out of this and click on OK. Then for baseline spacing, let me type in 150 millimeters for baseline spacing. Then for extend beyond dim lines, let me put in 100 millimeters here. Then offset from origin, I'm going to leave that at 250 millimeters. We move on to symbols and arrows. All right, for the arrowhead, I prefer it to be architectural thick. And then for the second one, also architectural thick. Now for more details about what all of these things represent, I'm going to link a video on the description box of this video, so do well to check out that video for clarity. All right, let's continue. I am also going to choose architectural thick. So for arrow size, 150 mm. Then we move to text. Then for text height, here if you enter the text height, it's not going to stay, but if we go to text style and expand this by clicking on this box, it's going to open up this dialog box where we can actually enter the text height here, and I'm going to enter 200 millimeters. Then for font name, you can change it from Arial to whatever font you prefer. So I leave it as this Arial. For font style, we have regular, and then if you expand it, you're going to see bold, italic, and the rest of them. So regular, let's set what we have set up here as current, say yes, and close this. Now you can see the changes there. The text height has appeared under the text height here. For text placement, here for the vertical, I'm going to set it as above. Then for the horizontal, I'm going to leave it at centered left to right for view direction, which is fine. Then for text alignment, I choose ISO standard. Now you can see all of the changes are taking shape on the preview there. Then the next is go to fit, and always keep text between extension lines. So this is preferred over dimension line without leader, so I prefer to check this, and then the rest of them. So for overall scale, I have it as 1. Then let's go to the primary unit. Under the primary unit, this is where we now set up unit format. So here I have it as decimal, so decimal is fine. Then precision 0, because I like it to be in 1 decimal place. All right. So for angular dimensions, we also have decimal degrees, and then precision is also 0. Click on OK. We have the P dimension as the active one, then set as current, and then you close. Once you close, I'm going to delete this. So if I select dimension and dimension from here to here, so I have that there. Let's say I pick rectangle, then click on the first point, come here under dimension and activate it. Then I have a dimension of let's say 8200 mm. Click on enter, and then by 3600, click on enter. And I want to work with these dimensions. I'm going to rotate this. Let's say this is the space I have to make a simple floor plan. And the next thing I want to do now is to offset this line to have my wall thickness. And the wall thickness is going to be 150 mm. I'm just going to use the shortcut for offset, which is O, enter. So I click on O, enter. So I type in 150 mm and click on enter. And then I select this line and offset it into the building, then escape. So if you select any of them, you can see you highlighted all because it's going to be in block since it's polyline. But we can just select it and explode it by clicking on explode here. So once you click on explode, you have separated all of the lines. But one of the commands you're going to be using more often, as long as you're making floor plan or any other plan in AutoCAD, is the offset command. So I will always go by using the shortcut as O, enter, then you enter what you want to offset. So I'm just going to type in 1000 millimeters and enter. So I pick this line from here and move the cursor into the rectangle. If you move it away, that means the offset is going to come this way. So I just move the cursor and click. Now I hit enter double times, and if you watch here, you're going to see they're saying specify offset distance. So I'm just going to specify 150 millimeters for the wall once again and enter, and I offset this, then hit escape. To confirm that, if I click on dimension and I dimension between here, you can see I have it as 1000 millimeters. So I continue with O, enter, and then 3500 millimeters, enter. I pick this line, double click on enter, 150, enter, then hit escape. So I have from here to here as 3005, then I have from here to here. Then the next thing I want to offset from here to here about 900 millimeters. So I'm just going to enter 900. I pick this and I hit 150 mm, enter. Then I'm going to take off 1500 millimeters from here. So as usual, 0, enter, 1500. 150 mm. Now I'm just going to delete these dimensions since I already have them exactly how I want it. So I pick trim and then I trim this, trim this away, and then I'm going to offset another 1500 from this in, then enter, then I pick trim. So the next thing I want to do is to offset, say 600 from this into the building. So I offset from this point to this point. Then I can select this, which is another option, and drag it from there to this point, or I drag this from here to this point. So as for the point between here and here, I can just go to modify and expand this. So I pick break from this point to this point, hit enter to break from this point to this point once again, hit enter to do the same here. So I'm just going to do something like this, and maybe pick a line and join this like that. So I have this as a separate line. Pick extend to extend this line to this point. Alright, so I continue with that break here. I'm going to extend this line to get to this point by picking this and extending it to that point, extending this to this point. So I'm just going to use this for this trim. If you use shift key, alright, it becomes the second function of trim and extend. With shift key you can extend. Take your hands off the shift key, it becomes trim. So I have this, alright, I'm going to use break to break this from this point to this point, hit enter and break it from this point to this point, then pick extend and extend it. Of course you're going to know why I'm doing that later, and then I can trim this off, hit enter. Here I'm going to also use extends to extend it to this point, and then use offsets to offset like 600 also to this point. Then I can also select this and drag it from this point to this point. As for this other area, I am going to select this and extend it to that point, and then move to break line and break this from here to here. Use enter to activate it again, break it, then I break this to set up some other layers. Of course some of the lines are going to be hidden. Now what to do in that case is to go back to layer properties, and then I set new. I'm just going to set any of them as current. I close this. So if I want to choose this surface, all I have to do is just to draw a line, and then I can also drop this down and set the hidden, pick a line and make a line just like that. And then here I come here to select match properties. I pick this and then match this as well, then match this, then pick match properties once again. I select this, I match this, then go here to match this, hit escape. Now if we want to see exactly how the lines are, we can come here to turn on the line weights. Then I can go here, because it's a building plan you're making, and trim off all of this. Then this line here also, we can match it with this. We can match it with this. It's not supposed to be thick. So here we are. Then the next thing is to insert windows and doors. Now for insertion of doors, we have two different sizes of doors here. So to make this as block, what we are going to do is to select it and then come here. If you place your cursor here, you're going to see create. So we are going to create this. Now give it a name. We call this door 1. So the next thing is to pick a point on this door and make sure that your right unit is set. So here I have it as millimeters. If yours is not in millimeters, you can change it to whatever unit you work with. And then here we are going to pick a point. I'm just going to click on there, and then it comes back here to say specify on screen and select object. So here I'm just going to click on select object to select the entire object and hit enter. Once you click on enter, it brings you back into this dialog box. Then click on OK. You can leave some description if you want, then click on OK. I'm also going to set this as block as well. Pick point, select object, I select that, hit enter. So we're going to name it as door 2. Alright, so click on OK. Then the windows, since we are going to be inserting them as well, we are also going to convert them to block. So we create pick point, I pick it from this point, select, enter. The name is W1, which stands for window 1. OK. Then I hit enter to activate that again. Pick point. I name this W2. Then select object. Enter. Click on OK. Go to insert block. So I click this. So once you select any of those, it's going to pick it from that point. Of course, we can just leave it at that point there. And if it's not properly positioned, we don't have a reference point here, so I can just select it and then move it from this point to this point. The same thing is applicable to this other side. Insert block once again. This one time around I'm going to go for door 2, and once I select that, it's going to be here. This, we would actually rotate it to this other side. So if you come down here, you're going to see rotate. Click on rotate. What's the angle of rotation? Is going to be 90. Hit enter, so it is correct, and then I click at that point. So this is how the block and insertion of the block works, just to show you. But in these other cases, I can just select this, all right, just to be faster than I want. Maybe I select this, rotate it. Once I'm done with the rotating, I can pick this from any point and insert it there, just for faster move. So I go to block again and pick this and fix it here. So I have all of this, but now for best practice, swinging of this door should go to the adjacent wall rather than this way. So what I'm going to do to correct that is just to select it and come here to pick mirror. Once I place it at the middle, move the cursor forward, it's going to show me the direction it's going. So once you click and right click on yes. Yes means it's going to delete the original and the mirrored one remains. No means both of them are going to stay there. So what I'm going to do is to pick move and set it correctly. This is also swinging this way so that there will be no obstruction. So I'm just going to select this, pick mirror it from the center, click, then right click, yes. So that's it for the door, and here I have this as wardrobe. I can cross this out to specify exactly what it means. So the next thing I want to do is to insert windows. Here I'm just going to pick lines, come to the center and do something like this, and then for the windows I'm going to place there. What's the dimension? I'm just going to go from this point to this point. That's 900 millimeters. So here I'm just going to make use of the offset. I offset 450 mm, enter. I offset that to the left and to the right, and then pick this, holding my shift key, and I trim all of these off, hit escape. Then I'm going to pick match properties just to match this. I'm also going to do the same thing on this other side by clicking on line. Where is the center point of that? Offset 450, 450, enter. Then I'm going to select trim, pick match properties and match that. This window is going to be somewhere here so that it does not obstruct anything for me. So I'm just going to select this line and select this line, and then pick join. Once you click on join, you join the both lines. All right, so I'm going to offset it from here to this point, maybe enter 600, pick trim, and I do the same thing here. Yeah, I'm just going to enter 300 because I'm going to do it either ways, this way and 300 this way. Then I pick match properties, then match this. So I move to insert and place it right there. For us to get it accurately, if we go insert and we are supposed to rotate it to maybe 90 degrees, type in 90 and click enter, so it's rotated the other way around. Then I fix it there. So I go insert once again and I pick W2. I come here to fix that. Then I go back to insert again, click on this, I fix it here. Then the next thing I want to do is to add text to it and indicate what exactly this compartment represents. Alright, for the text, I'm just going to ensure that all of these rooms are tagged. So what I'm going to do now is to go to text, click on the arrow there and choose either multi-line text or single line text. So here I'm going to choose multi-line text and click at any point there and expand it just like that. So here you can do some modifications by making sure either that your text is bold or italic, but I'm just going to leave it as bold. Of course, the height of the text is going to be 200 millimeters, and then here you can change it to whichever font you prefer. So I'm going to leave it as Arial, and then I click inside this box, then I type, here is going to be room, and I click outside, select it and centralize that. Of course, that's the only room I have here. So instead of pick text and continue doing the same thing here, I can just select this and pick copy it to this point, edit it from here by double clicking on it. Once you click on this head, you can delete that and change it to something else. So here I'm just going to call it entrance and then click outside. Then I can copy once again to somewhere else. So I'm going to turn off the auto to be able to move freely. So I click here, place this here, and then I can also place this here and rotate it. I turn on the auto once again, then I pull this here. So I'm going to label this kitchen, then here is just going to be maybe lobby, then this is toilet, then here would be the balcony. And of course we can select this and copy it out and maybe name this floor plan. If I want it to continue being in straight line, all I have to do is to place this cursor here and drag it. All right, that's how to extend it. You get the point. Then you can click outside. So I'm just going to move this and then move it up a bit. Here, the next thing I'm going to show you is how to introduce hatch patterns. To hatch some of the areas on this plan, just go to hatch, which is located here. If I expand this, you're going to see hatch, gradient, boundaries. So what I want to do is use hatch right now. Then you can use these two arrows to search for the hatch pattern you're looking for. So as I click on it, different hatch patterns are being updated, so you can see. Let's go for this brick, and I'm going to select that. But there is something I'm missing. Just prior to this time, I was supposed to set a layer for the hatch pattern. So I'm just going to go back by clicking on Escape, and then I go to Layer Properties, and I set New Hatch. This one, I call it Hatch. Then I can change the color to something else. I don't really know, but maybe something like this. Click on OK, and then we can change the line width 0.00 millimeters, which is apparently the least of them. Set it as current, then close this. Go to hatch. We can select this brick. Then this is hatch pattern scale. Increase the scale to maybe 1000 mm or 100 mm just to see what it will look like. If we don't get it rightly, we'll go there and increase the scale once again. So once you're done, you can click on any box. If the scale is not good enough, I can turn this to maybe 300 millimeters. Enter. You can see we now have something better than that. Enter once again. So I'm going to hatch this portion and also hatch this portion. So I click on enter once again to activate that, and I click there, double click on enter, hatch this place. That's how hatching works. So I click on escape to exit out of that. I want to just go ahead and insert some components into this compartment. So to do that, I'll just change this to maybe our wall once again, and then I go to insert, maybe pick this first of all, and then I insert it here, and that is supposed to be the bed. And maybe I can adjust the scale and click on scale. I can just leave it to be this size. Up next is to dimension this, and then just before the dimensioning, it's always important to note that grid lines are important, because there are some builders that will not be able to set a building out without grid lines. So for the grids, that's where the construction lines comes in handy. Just before I select the construction lines to show you, all I'm going to do now to ascertain the center point of the block walls, I'm just going to pick rectangle and then create something like this. Move to draw, and if you expand this, you see different types of lines, and then we have different other types of lines. But in this case, I'm just going to select the construction line. Once you pick it, it's not going to show here, but if you come here and either choose horizontal, vertical, angular, bisect, or offset, you're going to see them display, but I'm just going to pick vertical. Once you select the vertical, you see the line there. Of course, it's a construction line, but then it bears the layer of the wall, which is not what I actually wanted. I'm just going to opt out of this and set a layer for the grid lines. So I'm just going to cancel that by clicking on escape. Then go to layer properties once again, and of course on your drawing or your drafting, you will just keep setting layers upon layers just to differentiate all the lines and their line weights. So here I'm just going to click on set new layer. Now I'm going to call these grid lines. So once you have done that, you can change the color to maybe something like this, and then the line weight, of course it has to be very faint as the dimension lines. So I click on that and OK, set it as current, then close this. So here, haven't done this, I'm just going to go back to draw, construction line, vertical, then I place the grid line there at the center. Of course, the object snap will always determine, and if any of these things does not snap on your system, all you have to do is to set up your object snap. And how to do that, let me cancel this by clicking on escape. What you have to do is to click on O snap. So once you type O S, alright, the O snap will just appear. Click on it and then you have this dialog box. Just check them all. If your object snap is not active, at the end of the day you click on OK. So that's it. Now we have all of this there. To delete this because we don't need it. Now I'm going to select this, pick copy, and then I can copy from this endpoint and move it to this point here. So it's going to be at the center line since the block walls are all equal. So I'm also going to do the same thing here. So I shouldn't have deleted that. And then I go back to draw construction line, horizontal this time, and I place it at the center there. Now selecting this, I'm going to pick copy, placing it here, and I'm going to put it here, click here, click here. Just make sure you make no mistakes about it. Click here at this point. I'm going to also leave a grid down here if you like, depending on you. So having done this, I'm just going to select this rectangle, create a rectangle just like that, then pick trim and trim off all of this so I can be working within the rectangle. Then let's specify the extent of all of these. I'm going to offset 2500 millimeters and I type O, enter, 2500, enter. So I select from this grid away 2500, 2500. Then I do the same thing here also. So I pick trim. Then I can go ahead and delete this and also delete this. Right click and click on erase. I'm going to move this away and then I'm going to place annotations on the grid lines. So here I'm going to select circle, center and radius. Then I place it here. Here I have 170. I'm just going to click there and make the diameter 300 mm, enter. So I have that as 300 mm. Then I go to text, maybe this time around single line text 1, and then I'm going to select this and also pick it from this end to this end, and I call this 2. I also needed to put a grid here, so I'm just going to select this, pick it from this point and put it there. So I'm going to have 1, 2, 3 on the vertical. I place it there, then I double click on this and enter 3. Then I'm going to copy this, place here. Then on this horizontal part, this would be A, then this would be B, then this would be C, then this would be D. So up next is to add dimensions to it. Now in this case, I'm going to change this layer to dimension. Now for best practice, since this grid lines is also running inside the buildings, it may cause some obstructions for some other annotations you're going to be adding, including your dimensions. The best thing to do is to copy all of these grid line tags and also transfer it to this other side. Then do same here and transfer to this other side, and then you pick trim and you trim off the internal part that is causing obstruction. You can trim off all of this because your dimension lines are going to be running inside as well. So trimming them off will do a lot good to us. Then what to do next is, just before we continue with the dimensioning, I like to copy this and keep it aside for other things. I'm just going to dimension the interior first before the exterior. So I pick dimension and take it from this point to this point. Click on enter and you go from this point to this point. Enter once again. can go again from this point to this point. This is just a wardrobe, so we are taking from wall to wall. Then I select this and select this and just pick move it down a bit, turn the auto on, then I move it down a bit. Then this kitchen tag, I can move this a bit and I free this up, and then I dimension here by clicking on dimension. Then I leave it there, pick this, move it up, dimension this as well. Then I go vertical, 900. Now if the text for the interior dimension is looking bigger, what I mean is this: I go to annotate, I have this P dimensions. Once you click on this arrow, you can go manage dimension style, create new, alright, and it's going to appear as copy of this, which is a duplicated copy of that. Then let's continue it. Now under this duplicated copy of that, we can go and go to the text, expand this, then we can reduce the size of this to 150 mm, apply it, then close. Then we can go ahead and close this, set current and close. Right here under annotate, what we have is the copied version. I'm just going to continue with the dimensioning. Now if you notice something, this dimension has reduced. So all I'm going to do is to also make sure that all of these are reduced as well as this. So I'm just going to select this, right click, select similar, they are all selected. So I make sure I switch them all to the copied of this, so they all become of the same size. Then I pick dimension once again and go that way. So that's it for the internal dimensioning. Then let's go to the external dimensioning. In this case, we can switch on this that is a bit thicker. So I'm going to select this. I'm going to pick dimension and go this way, click on annotate. Now here you're going to see continue. So once you click on this continue, it's going to continue from there. Now I'm just going to go to window level and to window level, then I end it at that point. Then the next, I'm still going to go back to the main dimension line there, and then I pick block walls, go to annotate and continue. This time around is from partition to partition. This is not looking correct because it's supposed to be from this point, so you can drag it from this point to this point and you have it correctly. You can also drag this from this point to this point and then you have it there. Then the next one is to take from end to end, and you can drop it at any point. And then the last but not the least, you can take it from grid line to grid line. So this is how the dimensioning works. So we can go back to all of this and do a complete dimensioning. Then again, for best practice, when you're making dimensions, as far as these architectural thick lines are, you will notice that the next dimension line will just cut across this line without architectural thick. What you just have to do is to select it, and you can pull it from that point to this point. And you have it so that they will all stand on their own. All right, so the next thing is to pick the dimensions again, and this time around I just go from end to end and make sure your object snap is accurate. So from end to end and place it there. Then the next line of dimensioning is from grid to grid, and I place it there. Do this. But while doing this, you just have to make sure that you have equal baseline offset. And for what baseline offset stands for, the link of the video I'm going to leave. Make sure you see that video for more details about dimensioning, because if you watch, the offset distance between the wall and this dimension line is not the same as that of this. It's not the same as that of this. So there's a way to do it. That's why you need to check out that video. Now with this, we've come to the end of this tutorial, and if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do well to do so, and make sure you hit that like button so that more people can see and benefit from this tutorial. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.